Hi, my name is Gerhard Schwantner and welcome to Selling Power's Daily Report. Today we have the pleasure of meeting with Sam Reese, who is the CEO of Miller Heiman. Welcome, Sam.
Thanks, Gerhard. Good to see you.
Sam, let's talk about how companies can differentiate themselves in this challenging economy.
There's a lot of people that are really focused on differentiation now and trying to make sure that they're not perceived as a commodity. But every year we do a sales effectiveness study, and people usually say, well, what was the big finding? And I usually give them about 10 or 15 things. But this year, it was really pronounced when you look at how top sales organizations are really different than the rest of the organizations. So our definition of a top organization being a winning sales organization. So two big things that just popped out. Winning sales organizations were over 100% more likely to have a process to leverage the best practices of their top performers. So that was the first one. That was pretty pronounced. And the second one was that winning sales organizations really did a much better job of engaging their strategic accounts in their own product and service planning, so bringing their accounts closer. So if you think about what's working and where the top organizations are spending their time, it's two places. It's making sure that they know what their top performers are doing so they can replicate that, and they're spending time getting close to their big clients. That seems to be the recipe for differentiation and for success.
So how do you replicate success in a sales organization?
Wow, yeah, a lot of ways. But first of all, you have to really understand what it is that your top performers do differently. And a lot of people don't really have the processes or the discipline in their organizations to have a way to do that.
Why is it such a big challenge?
It's a challenge because a lot of times it really ends up being an old myth that they believe that the salesperson is just the one who has the great art or the black art that nobody else can replicate. So when you have that kind of myth, all the efforts to try and go in and spend time analyzing best practices fall by the wayside. So that's a lot of companies like us try and help people understand that there really can be a process and a methodology that you can follow over and over to win business consistently. But that's I'd say one of the big first factors. Another factor is a lot of companies view sales as an individual sport, right? So only one person at a time doing their own thing, when it's really changed. The world of sales is about a team sport right now. How you collaborate, how you work with the rest of the organization. So you got to understand how important that is, and then once you understand that, you really invest in trying to figure out what the best practices are of the top salespeople.
So there are really two issues. One is identifying the best practices, isolating them, and teaching that to the B reps. But there's another issue, which is what is the best process in a sales organization?
That's right. Yeah, you're exactly right. And the best process, I like to think about it in what is the best game plan or playbook. But you have to have that. When you don't start with that game plan or playbook, a foundation for how you're actually going to manage customers, then what happens is you just go out and hire haphazardly people who have different skills and different backgrounds and different ways they approach customers. So you as a company don't have your own customer management process. Imagine how hard that would be if you were outside of the sales organization trying to support sales, when each salesperson goes about doing business completely differently. So yes, those are two major factors.
And also there's the added difficulty that a lot of salespeople get promoted to sales management, and they don't know what a process really is.
Amazing how that continues to be one of the hottest issues of our clients. The best salesperson automatically goes to the sales manager. And almost every company goes, we found out this wasn't really a good idea. Well, no kidding. Just because you were the best at that doesn't mean that you understand how to help other people become successful.
Sam, can you help me understand how a company can align the sales process with the way their customers buy and also with the way their business process works?
Yes, excellent question. It's actually the catalyst for the whole diagnostic tool we use when we talk with sales VPs. And actually, the model we give a sales VP maps one-to-one with what you just outlined. Our philosophy when we talk to sales VPs and we answer that question is, you really have to start at the very center thinking about what has changed with the customer. Because from all the processes and all the decisions you make have to emanate from what's changed with the way the customer is buying or what they need. Many companies forget that and talk about what they're going to do to clients instead of with clients. So the model that we have our sales VPs work with is start first with understanding what's going on with the customer. Around that are the key processes, as you outlined. How are you going to identify new business? How are you going to manage those new opportunities and actually bring them to become customers? And then once they're customers, how are you going to manage those relationships? Think of the customer in the middle, those key customer management processes around that. But that all connects to the rest of the business. And the rest of the business being the people that you bring into the organization. The management execution piece. Are your managers doing what they should be doing? And then are you giving the organization, and specifically the sales organization, the resource and the tools and the support to actually be successful? So as sales leaders try and make adjustments in their organizations, they have to look at that model altogether and have to understand that a tweak in one area has implications that reverberate all the way through the entire model. And that's really, when you hear me talk about a sales system approach, that's how I think about what a sales system looks like.
So what you're saying is that a lot of sales managers out there, they fall in love with a shiny object because they fall in love with let's say, a negotiation training course, but then they realize it's only one piece of the puzzle and they need to formulate the entire picture first.
Excellent summary, and I think it also is a good primer on why it's important to always be dealing with the leader of a sales organization when you're looking to implement any sort of change initiative. Sometimes people that don't lead that organization just see a point solution. We need to get better at negotiating. Well, getting better at negotiating has a ton of implications throughout the whole model. Have your customers started to buy differently? Do you need different people? Should you have better tools? You have to think about it all holistically rather than as these point solutions. And often the sales leader is the only one that has that view.
So Sam, could you explain to me, in a difficult economy, the customer process, buying process, is going to be a little different. What should sales managers prepare for now?
Sometimes, right, it can be different. I would say there's a few truths to whether or not it's a good economy or a bad economy. First of all, everybody knows they should be positioned deep and wide in organizations so they know more people and understand what the company is really trying to do. But what I see happening when people get nervous about the economy is a couple of reactions. First thing, C-level people want to get close to the field. Natural reaction. You're worried about what's happening out there, so you get close to customers. So you've got to be able to have a process so that they can do that in a way that helps the sales organization and helps customers rather than hinders them. The other part and another reason why it's important to be at executive levels is in a tight economy, budgets are really fluid. And I call it outlook budgeting. No longer are you competing against a competitor, a direct competitor for one piece of business. You're competing against any spend in the whole organization that could drive the profits and the top line. And I think finally, when you think about how you have to make sure you navigate in these difficult environments, when the difficult environments arise, is client-focused and on results. Not about how great they like us or not about how much fun we have with them, but is the client delivering results, and do the senior executives in the company know about those results?
So it sounds like salespeople need to think more strategically, and they need to have a lot more business acumen in order to help their customers.
Agreed. And they need to be able to feel comfortable to bring support into their accounts so that they can help position themselves at the levels they need to be at.
Thank you, Sam. And we're going to continue with Sam Reese, CEO of Miller Heiman, tomorrow, where we discuss what separates winning sales organizations from the rest.